Ben, babyhood emotional neglect, is linked to anxiety and mental health unwellness later in life. Dr. Gabor-Mate explains why.
Just wanted to get your opinion on something that has affected a few friends of mine recently.
Sure.
So some of my close friends have struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. These are guys in their late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
I just wanted your opinion on whether you think this is always rooted in childhood, and is there any practical advice you'd give to someone who's trying to get to the root of it?
Sure. So in general, I believe that most mental health disorders, in fact, I would say almost every mental health disorder originates in childhood experience, and it originates as a coping mechanism. Now, if you look at anxiety, if I were to pull a gun on you, you would not be anxious. You'd be afraid, as you should be. So when are we afraid? When we're threatened with something. Either something bad happened to us or something that we perceive as something that we need is threatened to be taken away from us. Now, in the early child's life, in a young child's early life, anxiety is an attachment alarm. What is the child's biggest need? Attachment with the parent, connection with the parent. When the parent's not around, the child should feel some fear. That serves a positive purpose, because when a child feels fear, he cries, she vocalizes, and that brings the parent. I mean, look at a mother cat responding to the kitten's cries, immediate. And the same with instinct, with human beings who are still connected to the parenting instinct, they will respond to the child's cry for help. So that fear is adaptive. So it's a coping mechanism. But now what happens to a person whose parents are taught by medical experts, like I used to, until I learned otherwise, or others, not to pick up the kids when they're crying? Now that natural fear that causes the crying, that brings the parent, which ends the anxiety, is embedded in the child. So what begins as a coping mechanism now becomes generalized. So under certain circumstances, there should be fear and anxiety. But when I have this anxiety, when there's no immediate threat, what is that about? It's not a response to anything external. It's the embedded anxiety that I developed as a child. Now, in a society that makes people more isolated all the time, where human social contact is replaced by the rather cold and impersonal world of the internet, and when people are under genuine threat, where young people have less opportunity for meaningful employment and belonging and a sense of purpose than their parents used to, there's more general threat. Now, when that general threat hits people who are in childhood over-immersed in anxiety that's not relieved by the parent coming to help them, now you've got an anxiety situation. So when it comes to your friends with anxiety, I would get them to really look at their childhoods and to recognize that anxiety is really the cry of some desperate childhood part of themselves for help, and to learn to get help with that part. Not just to take tranquilizers or to drink booze, not to feel the anxiety, or not to go on the internet to soothe themselves or to escape momentarily, but to actually see that anxiety is a normal response on their part to what actually happened to them, and that it can be relieved and recovered from if they look at its sources.
So, the takeaway message is neglect of our emotions in our babyhood, otherwise called babyhood emotional neglect, or BEN, predisposes us to anxiety and other forms of mental illness later in our life. Mental illness is the symptom of Ben.